Well, it's a new year, and this is a time you hear people say, "New year, new me." And in the words of a typical Nigerian, it don't cast, and it basically means it makes no sense anymore. And here's why. Have you noticed that every year there are less people making New Year resolutions? This is because it doesn't last even a week, highest a month. Now, most people make resolutions on the 31st and go back to their habits before the 2nd. This has led many people to say things like, a new year is just another day and there's nothing special. As we stand at the threshold of a new year, it is crucial to reflect on the patterns of the past and consider how we can break free from the vicious cycle of failed resolutions, year in, year out. By embracing a thoughtful and intentional approach to setting these goals, we can pave the way for a lasting personal transformation and growth. And not just personal, I'm talking to businesses right now. I'm also talking to companies as well. We'll break down this conversation into two. First, we'll take a look at the cause and the effects of failed resolutions, and then we'll take a look at the solutions for failed resolutions. Well, that said, joining us on the show now to take a critical look at this, first, I'm joined in the studio by Temitope Olukunle, a global talent professional, Forbes coach, and founder Outnovatively Africa. Thank you so much, Temitope, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
It's good. It's now feeling like you're my co-anchor because I've had you a lot on the show. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for always having me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. We also have with us Utibe David, a youth development consultant and World Bank Youth Summit delegate. Thank you so much, David, for joining us as well.
Thank you so much. Blessing. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about one phenomenon that is common this period. You know, I've been hearing it from like the 29th, and I'm still hearing some people say it, while some people are of the opinion that the year itself is not different, is what you do differently that makes it different. Some people believe that every new year comes with new opportunities, which is good, and then they try to take or make the most of these opportunities by setting new year goals and resolutions. But a lot of people fail along the line, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I'm going to start with you, Temitope. What are the most common mistakes that people make in terms of setting new year resolutions?
Awesome. I think this is a fantastic conversation, especially because it's happening on the first day of the year. So it's very strategic. And if you look at the past data, statistics has shown that January of every new year is the year that gym membership increases. Yes. Every gym outlet right now, they're cashing out because everybody, wants to register for the year. The energy is very high. Yeah. And then tobacco sales also goes down because this is the month that people say, I'm no longer smoking, new year, new me, just like you said. And of course, the sales of natural products, fruits, smoothies, people want to go into these things. And then by the 30th of the month, everybody's beginning to go back to their old habits, where you're coming from. So what I think is fundamentally wrong is people get the pattern wrong, right? We be before we do, and then before we have. It's called the be, do, have model. It's a principle. You become, and then you do, and then you have. So most times we want to have those things without being that person who can achieve those things. So when people set goals, I personally don't set New Year resolutions. I don't write those things down. What I do is I set the goal, which is one word, my theme for the year. And if you look at churches, if you're a Christian here or you are in Nigeria, even if you're not a Christian, you will know that most churches around you, they have something called the theme of the year. Yeah. So people will say supernatural breakthrough and all of that. So I work with theme of the year. I identify who I want to become in that year. What is my vision for the year? And then when you identify who you want to become, and then that is where you begin to write down your goals of becoming. So if I want to become a thought leader, which is what I did last year, I want to become a thought leader and to be a top 1% in my field. From that one being that I want, because we are human beings, not human doings. So we want to do first before becoming.
Oh, no, that's deep.
You become be. So when you know who you want to be for that year, you then begin to write, what do I need to do to become a thought leader? I need to write a book because I need to be an author. I need to have a podcast, a YouTube channel, speaking engagement. So from there, you begin to list out your goals. So I think people make the mistake of setting New Year resolutions without identifying who they want to primarily be in the year that they have entered. So that's what I think is the issue. And we should start from there. Who do you want to become before you begin to set resolutions?
I'm listening and I'm hearing you, but the human being is echoing in my head. That is a very strong point, actually.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, David, over to you now. Why do you think that most individuals are often motivated to make New Year resolutions at the beginning of the year? What happens to the motivation, in the middle of the year? Maybe when they get a strong message or read a strong book that should motivate them. Some people believe that, okay, let's say I read a book in October or September. I'm like, this book is powerful. I'm going to work towards this for 2024. Why do people not get motivated to just start from where they are at that moment? Why do they always look forward to the first of the next year to become a different person?
Okay, thank you so much, Blessing. Anyways, why people don't have to stick to those motivations, like Temi rightly said, is first of all, being before doing. Now, when we talk about that, it's actually talking about the mindset. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Now, if you see it well, how you start the day determines how you follow through all the day. And this has to talk about the way you program yourself. Because if the programming is wrong, the output is going to be wrong. When you're talking about being before doing first, it has to talk about the mindset. What are the requisite mindset that these people have? Now, imagine someone that have been doing a particular thing for a particular number of years. Now, let's take, for example, you use your right hand to brush. Use your right hand to brush, and then over years you have been brushing with your right hand. Now you get to a particular place, and then someone just tells you, anyways, that these people who actually use the left hand to brush that are actually making it now. Now, you will see that for the next few days or for the next few weeks, you try to brush your teeth with your left hand. You still see yourself going back to using your right hand because your brain has already mastered the use of your right hand. So coming with the left hand, you have to inculcate habits, inculcate certain things, certain processes in order for that to be a system that can run on autopilot. So that is why people get those motivation. They didn't reinstall the new software that will run the program for the year. So by the time they start for the first week, second week, man, they're already off. So that's just the problem.
Right. I think what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that motivation alone does not form a habit, right? You have to be conscious and intentional about forming the habit. Getting the motivation will not, keep you going. I think I love that as well. Now, Temitope, what would you say are the common obstacles? Let's say someone sets goals or a theme for the year and, decides that this year I'm going to stick to these goals, be it, discipline, be it getting fit or financial freedom or whatsoever. And, they start on the journey, but somehow there's some unforeseen circumstances that just comes to sway them off. What are some of these common obstacles that people face?
Awesome. Number one is an identity crisis. I feel like a lot of times when people set goals, it's also coming in from pressure. Sometimes it's because this is what everybody is doing right now. So everybody is setting a goal to jackpot right now. So that's my goal. And you have to ask yourself the question, is that what is needed in your next level? This year, 2024, is that the next level for you? So everybody around you is doing masters. It's good to be very motivated by what other people are doing. But I've always preached the gospel of discipline over motivation, because motivation, today you are motivated, the ginger is there, and by next week everybody has moved on. So people lack the drive to continue on that path. So you need to ask yourself question, why am I doing what I want to do? Is it because somebody else is doing it? And you remember when we were in secondary school, a lot of us went to science class because our friends were in science class.
Yes.
And so if you look at some of the skills and the passions that you have, they were not related to what you went to study, but because of the pressure. So the identity, you need to settle that. That's why I think people fail on that. Then number two, execution is the name of the game. Just writing down goals and saying this is what I'm going to do, or even having a theme that this year I'm going to have and I'm going to emerge, does not bring the solution. If you don't execute, you're not going to get the result. So what are the actionable items from what you want to achieve for that year? What do you need to do? Because there is a part you need to play. Most times, especially for people who are, of the Christian faith, when we go to church, we get the energy, the drive, and then we're prayed over. We want to run with the year, with what we've heard. And that is very fundamental. It's good to be very faith-driven. But an irresponsible faith is a faith that you believe that somebody will do something for you, or even God will do something for you without the corresponding action from you. So you need to also identify, what is my role in this year? What am I going to do to get the result that I need to get? So I think number two reason why people fail at the resolutions that they set is because they've forgotten that execution is the name of the game. The assignment before us is very silent, very simple, yet monumental. And the people or the person that will get that result you want to get is not the person that got you the result of 2023. So you have to become a new person to get the results you need to get in the year 2024. So there is an assignment and there is work to be done. So people need to get above themselves, build the capacity, and then begin to execute. We hit the ground running.
Right. Okay, I like one of the things that you said about pressure, and I think that's going to lead me to my next question. David, now we realize that a lot of times, not just even December or January now, throughout the year, we see a lot of people get influenced or pressurized by what other people are doing on social media. And we've talked about this issue time and time again. And that's why sometimes personally, for example, December period, early January, I like to distance myself a little bit from social media, give myself a little digital detox, because that's when you see a lot of people saying, just like she said, oh, this year I'm going to do my master's. Yeah. Oh, this year I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then it's either you were not planning to do it, or it's not even in the line of what you should be doing at the moment. But because you feel like these people are doing this thing, it shows that they're serious, then you want to key into it and do what you should be doing in the first place. I'll use a very typical example. This age and time, there's so many fashion and lifestyle influencers on social media. But what people don't understand is some of these people did not set out to become fashion or lifestyle influencers. They could just be bankers who love to dress up, and then they take pictures today, tomorrow, and then before you know, brands are reaching out to them. But this younger generation do not understand that. They just believe that this person set out on the 1st of January some 10 years ago that they're going to become fashion and lifestyle influencers, and now they're making big bucks from it. So from 2024, I'll become a fashion and lifestyle influencer. And this is coming from someone who dresses tacky, who doesn't even, invest in how they look, who doesn't know how much it costs to invest in your look. So, this pressure from social media is a very big problem, in this age and time. So what would you say, or what's the advice that you give people in terms of setting goals and distancing themselves or their minds from social media or the pressure from the society when they set goals?
Okay, thank you very much. A lot of times people are moving with what we call the bandwagon effect. So people are doing this, I also have to do it too. Now, that is also stemming from people don't know who they really are. If you know who you are, you sit down to say, okay, like I am someone in the youth space, I'm a youth development consultant. Now, I didn't just start because others are doing it. I saw the way people were doing it, but I had to sit down. So what is needed of me? And that pushed me to sit down to craft what kind of a youth development consultant do I want to be? Now, I sat down, wrote it down, and then actually started reading things and putting myself out there to meet out with either training sessions that will also help me in that space, or reaching out to mentors who are also going to help me out. Now, that already is giving me focus, because whatever you don't have as whether a purpose or whether a goal that you have written down, you have not committed your mind to it. That is why social media can sway you. Because anybody that is not focused, the moment you are focusing, like you have something that you want to achieve, you are blinded. That's what we call lesser focus. The moment you are focused on a particular thing, you are blinded of every other thing that is behind you. That's why when you are focused on a particular thing, you don't know what the social media is saying, because you know the course you are doing, you know what we are pursuing, and then whatever every other person is doing is not actually for me. So the problem is that people don't state it clearly what they want to get or what they want to achieve. And even though they have it in their head, they don't stick it down they don't sit down to really write it down. Like the Bible says, whoever wants to build a tower will first of all count the cost. They don't count the cost. They don't put back to see that distractions are going to come into the way. So what happens is that what they have to do is that sit it down the beginning of this year. First and foremost, you have to write it down. This is what I'm committed to do. This is what I'm going to be doing. And then you put it down. And then maybe some other time you can reach it out to people that are already doing that in the space where you're looking up to them, and then actually know, okay, am I on the right path? You can set up accountability system for yourself. Okay, check out this, what am I even doing? And if I'm not doing well, please reach back to me and tell me what I can be doing well. From there, you'll be so caught out, because if you're busy pursuing something, you'll be less distracted to what is happening in the world. Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, thank you, David, for that. Now, Temitope, when we talk about change or resolutions or themes, one constant word we hear a lot is discipline. Tell us, how does discipline play a role in the success or failure of a new resolution?
Awesome. So if you remember when I said earlier that motivation and discipline, a lot of times people move with motivation. And motivation, you can be motivated today, and then the reason for that motivation is no longer in the picture, and then you just find out that you lose the momentum to go on that path. But discipline is saying that I said I'm going to do this, and I'm committed to doing it. So I'm going to wake up every day, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's easy for me to do or not, I'm going to keep doing this. So for me, I think that discipline is the most critical that anybody can take note of. And if you look at the example that I gave earlier, when we started this conversation about the Be Do Have model, let me use you as an example, or a TV host. Anybody wants to be a TV host right here. So the assignment before you is not just to start having or doing, it is to become. Most people want to get the job first, but you have to be the person who can do that job. So first you have to build the discipline. You have to be the person who is smart, who is charismatic. You have to be that person who can ask questions, curate conversation. You have to be smart enough to ask questions from questions. So you are building this discipline to show up, to look good, to look the part. And then you say, well, what do I need to do to be able to do all of these things? And then what do I need to have? So the discipline for you is saying that I said I'm going to do this, and yes, I'm going to do it. Because the truth is, especially for 2024, I tell people that this year would be the year, not just about the smartest people, it will be about the people who are disciplined about what they said they want to do. So everybody is coming online, writing things online right now that this is who I'm going to be this year, this is my year of courage, this is my year of emerging. All of that is good. We will soon see by March the people who are going to truly be who they said they're going to be.
March is far.
March is far, maybe by end of January. But guess what? The difference in all of these people is the discipline to commit to do the work, because there is a work to be done. Most times we admire the glory, and that's why we say there's a story behind everything that you see. I wrote 10 books in 2023. Wow. It required a level of discipline. It required a new version of me. So that's why I said 2024, when you're setting your resolutions, when you are setting your goals, I became a top 1% in my field in 2023. It required a new level of discipline. I had to do the things I didn't do in 2022. So guess what? 2024, you are going to work. You are going to be disciplined. You are going to have to sit down to say, what do I need to do to get this done? So maybe for you, you want to write a book. How do you write a book? Do I start with one chapter a day? Or I create a time once a week to write down my thoughts, and then I use artificial intelligence probably to help me restructure it, and then I begin to take notes. So you have to build the discipline. Nobody will do the work for you. So that's what I think. Very fundamental discipline. Very fundamental.
So you also said something about it takes work to get where you want to be. And I've realized that one thing that is also missing is the fact that people do not come to the understanding that when you work hard to get somewhere, you have to work twice as hard to maintain that level. So a lot of people, they work, they achieve something, and then they don't realize that we are in a world that is moving so fast. And if you stay there, you're happy that, I've achieved 2022's goal, and then you realize that everybody has gone ahead of you. So people are scared of hearing that, when you get here, it takes more work. You have to work twice as hard. I think it was one actress that said it, that she always wanted to be an actress. And, people see her now and they're like, oh, you finally made it. And she's like, you don't know the crazy work that I'm putting in to stay relevant.
Yes.
I think that's the word, staying relevant. So I think people also need to realize that staying relevant is even more important than the discipline to even get there.
That got you here.
Exactly. So I'm also going to ask this, and this goes for a lot of people, right? Not many people come out to say, but there's this element of fear or the desire to make things perfect that drives people away from actually achieving certain goals. For example, a lot of people now, if you ask like at least 50% of people you ask, they'll tell you that they have the passion, they have what they're doing, but their goal is to get more people to see it. So most of the people's desires these days is connected to social media. But now some people have that fear that I don't think I can put myself out there. I don't think it's good enough. So that fear and, would I say, perfectionist, mindset has hindered a lot of people. What do you say to that?
Awesome. So there's something we talk about when we say that, people coming out, showing up for their work, and its impact, influence, and income, right? And to be impactful or to influence people need to see you, people need to know you. And that's one of the privileges that we have, and I think I've said this before on the show, is one of the privileges that we have as adults, all of us that entered into this year, even children, is the audacity to believe in yourself. So if you believe you can, you are right. If you believe you can't, you are also right. And so if you wait for perfection, people who are half as good as you are will be taking the credit, be taking the glory. But guess what? They are building a track record. So you have to start from somewhere. If you wait for iPhone 15, you will never have to use iPhone 10 or iPhone 5 or iPhone 13. So the next level is already in the work that you're doing, but you need to put it out there. This is not the end of iPhone. Guess what? We're still going to have so much more. But they need to put out this version now. Begin to use it. Let there be users. Get feedback, then improve. So that's how to look at it. If you're waiting to be perfect, waiting to have all the instruments to start a YouTube channel, for example, you will never move. Your channel right now, if you have to wait to have all the setup, you will never start this channel. So it was started someday, the resources that was available, but there is a next level. So my encouragement to everybody who is waiting for things to be perfect is, see, the perfection is in the beginning. You start first, and then you perfect as you journey along. Guess what? Everybody's also on their path. Sometimes I think we overestimate who we are and underestimate what we can achieve. So you think everybody has your time that much. People are looking at your growth. No, get to work. They're also focusing on their own. So you are thinking everybody's looking at you, oh my God, the picture quality. Guess what? They're also focusing on their journey. So start from that, and then you begin to grow, and you begin to make adjustments.
Right, amazing. I mean, I'm learning a lot from this conversation, and I do hope that the viewers are also learning. I still have my guests, David, and of course, Temitope. We're still going to be doing justice to this same topic, the issue of failed resolution and what can be done about it. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, the conversation continues. All right, thanks for staying with us. We're still talking about New Year resolution, and that was a package put together by Bongani Siziba. I still have my guests with me in the studio, Temitope Olukunle, global talent professional, Forbes coach founder, Outnovatively Africa, and also an author of 10 books in 2023. I don't know how many she's written before then, but that's inspiring. We also have Utibe David, youth development consultant and World Bank Youth Summit delegate. Thank you both for still staying with us and having this interesting conversation. Now, David, before we went on break, myself and Temitope were talking about, the element of fear and perfection, in terms of people putting their work out there, or people being scared that, they'll get criticized for what they're doing, or that is not good enough or something. Do you have anything to say to that?
Yes. One of the things I would like to say will be, some people don't actually know the other side of failure. A lot of people just think, well, maybe because of the nature of the culture where we were raised. Now, people believe that when you have failed, there's no courage to bounce back or actually do something again. But if you check most of the innovators that we have had, most of the people who reinvented anything, you could see the journey they had over time, from Thomas Edison, the rest of them. They failed over and over and over. As far as that kind of drive, the kind of what I am going to birth is going to bless more life and then change the way humanity is relating with our world. The moment you have that at the back of your mind, failure is just, okay, is another time. How do I put this thing right, and how do I move from this point to the next point? So people don't actually see the other side of failure. That's why it doesn't last. That's why they have that fear. Oh, fear, I'll be criticized. If I fail, people now say he started out to do this, but he has not completed that. But if you actually knew what you're going to bet, or what will come out of you that will bless the world and then change the way humanity relates with our world, I tell you, continue to fail forward. Because one thing that happens is that people fail and then they get stuck. But if you're failing forward, is another step closer to what you're about to bet that will be a blessing to the world. Thank you.
Right, thank you. I mean, that reminds me of this popular, profound saying that people say, you ask, what if it doesn't work? But what if it actually does work? You just never know. All right, Temitope. Now, when we were taking a look at that clip that was put together by Bongani, I think the young man who spoke said something about, if he doesn't go to school, he's going to pursue his dreams. Now, he wasn't exactly specific in the video. I want to believe that that's the only time he wasn't specific. I want to believe that in putting down his desires or goals, he was specific, because that's the mistake a lot of people make. They just say things like, I want to pursue my fashion dream, I want to pursue my cooking goals, and they don't make specific goals. So is this part of the reasons why these resolutions fail, and how can we set more specific, achievable, feasible goals?
Awesome. So I think that's such a powerful question as well, because a lot of times, even when we get it right, we have a theme for the year, you have a vision, and then you find out that by June or July, people realize that they're really struggling to get the things that they said they were going to get. So, and that's why I personally advise that people start with clarity. So I have something I call the 10 C's framework, or sometimes 5C, depending on the conversation. But for today's conversation, I'll just call it a 3C framework. You start with clarity. What is, and that's also part of the vision that we talked about, what is my 2024 most important goal? What do I really want to achieve? And that's why, when we say SMART, setting SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-bound, SMART goals. That thing is not a cliche, it's not a cap. It is very real that this thing that you want to become, in the grand scheme of things, do you see it being achievable? So gain clarity. What is your next level going to look like? Then the second thing is go and build capacity. Let's not deceive ourselves. A new year requiring a new you. A new you genuinely is needed, truly. So that thing that people say, new year, new me, truly you need a new you. And it is work like we've established. So build capacity. Some of you will need to go and learn something. You don't have the skills to get that, to achieve the goal you have set. You know it, me and you, we know that this goal you have set, you don't have the capacity to get it done. So go and learn. Some of you need to get a mentor, get a coach, join communities, be a part of professional organizations, get a course, join a boot camp. So build capacity. And then the third C is conviction. Because a lot of time people are set back or laid back because they feel like they are so far gone. So they have 100,000 followers, but you are also coming. You already have the establishment and 2 PhDs and 5 masters on LinkedIn. You are coming. So believe that your journey starts now. Now is the time you are getting ready. Then it's your morning. Get to work. Wake up and start moving. So in setting your goals, start with clarity. This thing that I'm setting, this year I want to be on maybe the largest platform, speaking at one of the largest conferences. How do I get to that level? Who must I become to be attracted to such opportunities and for them to be attracted to me? So it has to be realistic, and then you begin to work towards it. So get clarity, build capacity, and gain conviction.
Right. 3 C's. I wish we got the 10, but because of the conversation. I'm going to come to Davy, but I also want to, I want us to focus a little on accountability. Now, I've realized that the reason that people show up to work every day, seek or not seek, motivated or not motivated. In fact, you see memes, a lot of times people will wake up and be asking, do I really need this job? But you see them show up with maybe not so much enthusiasm, but they show up and get the work done. And I've realized that the reason people show up is because they know that by the end of the month, something is in it for them. But now comparing that to setting goals, there's nothing exactly that, it's my goal. I'm tired of it. You can't hold me, So because of that, because of the fact that there's that lack of accountability, there's no consequence, there's no repercussion. So a lot of people just get halfway and like, I like this gym, I'm not doing it again, or this healthy eating or whatnot. So let's talk about accountability.
Yes.
How important is a factor of accountability, and how do we infuse it into setting goals?
Yes, I love it. So before accountability, and you need to understand that what you aim to achieve with all of this. So most times people lose track of the essence and the goal of setting that vision or that goal, the goal of the goal, because behind every goal is a goal. So if you set a goal to run or to go to the gym twice a week, there is a goal behind that goal. So when people lose track, so maybe you want to drop from a size 18 to 12, and then you started the gym January, February, and by March you're like, oh, I'm done. The question is, you've lost sight of the size 12 that you really want to get. And there's a reason behind that. And that's why when we say you have to start with becoming. So who do you want to become? It's not just because I want to be a size 12, but I want to be more healthy. So think about it from who you want to become. So the discipline of writing every day is not because you just want to write, that's the goal. It's because you want to become an author. Well, ask yourself, why do you want to become an author? Is it required for your next level? Is it required for your promotion at work? So when you remember why you started in the first place, when you are demotivated, you get up and work. Because you remember why you started in the first place. And there's a common saying that says that when you're about to give up or something like that, remember why you started. Yeah. So there's always a reason why you started. Let that be your motivation. Then secondly, accountability. Now set up structures around you. People who are on the same journey with you. People who can hold you accountable. That Madam, you said you are going to do this. What happened? You've not done it. It could be your spouse. It could be your sister. It could be your friend. It could be communities.
Partner.
Exactly. It could be a community that you belong to. Thirdly, that I would say on that accountability structure, create consequence. It's called the consequence management. You know that if you don't go to work, they won't pay your salary. There is a consequence automatically. It's not you that set it.
Yeah.
It's the owner of the vision. That when you don't come to work 2-3 days, when it's not a sick leave, madam, you are not going to be paid. So set up consequences for yourself that if I don't do this, I won't get this. So for example, if you go to the gym, maybe you have a cheat day that, okay, today I'm going to have everything I want to have. All week I've not had anything sugar. So today, at least I want to indulge, or I'm going to get myself a gift. So set up consequences. Let there be consequence management. And it's the same thing with our economy. Because there are no consequences for certain things, people get away with things. So by the time we set up accountability and then you set up consequence, guess what? You will get it and you surpass it.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, David, what do you have to say about accountability?
Well, accountability is one of the things that have actually helped a lot of people, including those that are out there, to really keep track of whatever they are doing. Now, one of the things I'll say about accountability is that, first of all, before you seek accountability, like Temitope have already said, is that what will go wrong if I don't get this thing right? And what will go right if I get this thing done? Now, you set up accountability structure to see, okay, if I want to aim out at impacting young people and helping, like I'm in the youth space, I've been privileged to work with a lot of young people across nations. Now, I noticed that they all have all these goals. They are setting out to do stuff that will help them in their career and whatever that will help them to stand out there. But I noticed that this is one of there's one ingredient that is lacking, and that is how do they stay on course? How do they stay on course? So we wrap it around, okay, we group them, put them into groups. Then you discuss when we have sessions, this is what I want to do. This is the time I want to complete this. This is what I want to do and all of that. Then we do feedback session. Okay, this week I didn't do this. This week I didn't do this. And then you set consequences, because there must be something that will go wrong if you don't do it. Like if I don't study for my next, for my master's, that means I'm going to drop out, or I'm not going to come out with a very good degree. So that will help you. Your accountability partner will maybe once in a week or twice in a month or thereabout, where you have already scheduled that out. The person will reach out to you. Okay, you said you're going to do this. Have you been able to do this? Send me your report and all of that. Now someone is actually putting tabs on you. If someone doesn't put tabs on you, you will surprise yourself. So when we wrap all this around accountability, whereby you are accountable to someone, someone can actually know what you are doing out there, or not necessarily your peers also. You are accountable to someone that is even bigger than you as a mentor. They are watching what you're doing, and for months, every month or quarterly, you send them your report. This is what I'm doing concerning what I told you that I want to do. Right. They can check it with the eyes of people that have already been in the space and tell you, no, this is what to correct, this is what to correct, and this is what you can do. And then from there, from time to time, you can celebrate yourself, because what happens is that people are waiting to the end in order to celebrate themselves. Please, every step that you make a win, you have the ability to just celebrate yourself. Thank you.
Right, amazing. Okay, finally, I'm going to ask you both. I want to get both your opinions on this. I'm going to start with you, David. Do you think it's more effective to set short-term goals or long-term goals, and why?
Okay, I believe it's good for people to set short-term goals and long-term goals. Now, I believe more in having to stretch your mind in setting long-term goals. Now, if you stretch your mind to set long-term goals, it will expand the way you are thinking. It will expand the way you see life, because a lot of the reasons why people don't go far is because people have short-term memories. You see, like nowadays, everything on social media is reducing every day because they believe that people have short-term memories. Now, people don't actually visualize. If you said the other day in a visualization class, and then we told young people, okay, let's visualize what you're going to be in the future. People were just closing their eyes, you're visualizing. In less than no time, they were stuck. So the moment you can visualize and then set a long-term goal, it will stretch your mind to actually foresee what will happen in the future. Then you can now come back to the now and then set short-term goals in a way to reach that long-term goal. So either of it, they both are very important, but set a long-term goals and then come back and set short-term goals in order for you to achieve the bigger goal.
All right, thank you, David. Okay, Temi.
Awesome. So I think that I agree with David. And to also look at it from another perspective, there's something called the visioning. Visioning or vision is like telescope. And so you use that to capture. So first, let me establish the fact that I agree that long-term goals should be set. And then from that, you cascade to short-term goals. And what will help you to do that is called the visioning. So setting the long-term goal, sometimes it looks like it's too far, so people can't really see. But visioning helps you to peer into the future. Like a telescope, you're able to see that in the next 5 years or in the next 3 years or in the next 10 years, who do I want to become or where do I see myself? And then when you break down, you bring it down to the level of vision board, which is like your camera. You capture those things, put it down. This is the type of car I want to ride. This type of family I want to build. This type of life I want to have, my career. And then you now come to the goal setting level. The goal setting level is now when you begin to write it down. Now you have your telescope, you have and then the goal setting is like a map. So that's like the roadmap to achieving that. So visioning, vision boarding, and then goal setting. With that, you are able to achieve your short-term goals, but the essence of that is to get to the long-term goal. And don't be afraid to pivot, because things will happen. Don't be afraid to pivot to say, this is necessary, this is not looking like where I want to be anymore, this is where I want to be right now. Don't be afraid to pivot. Yeah, I think that's my thought.
That's also very essential. All right, with that being said, I want to say a big thank you to Temitope Olukunle, Global Talent Professional, Forbes coach, founder, Outnovatively Africa. You have really, helped. I'm sure you've helped a lot of people to set better goals going forward. And I also want to say a big thank you to Utibe David, Youth Development Consultant and World Bank Youth Summit Delegate. Very, very salient points you've brought. Thank you so much for making this conversation very easy and very, very educative as well. We appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.